Okay, last one. Oh. I'm done. Game's over. I'm done. I'm done. This is it. No. No. This is it. Goodbye. Guitar is hard, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Eli Wingler, and I've been playing guitar for 3 years now. If you'll listen to me for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to properly attack the guitar and be able to understand what you're doing while effectively learning how to play with other people and impress your friends. These are things that I wish I would have used when I first started. I mean, these things right here help a lot, and it's good to get structure when you first start and know exactly what you're doing. And it's also good, lay back. You don't have to take it super serious. But all in all, this should be a good video for you. And if you'll stick around to the very end, I'm going to stick in a little bit of cross picking and, chord exercise that helps a lot with a song that, skyrocketed my ability to play the guitar. And like and subscribe if you care to. Share this video if it makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, please comment, because I would really like to know. Because this is my first time trying this, so, Alright, so step one, Step one's obviously basic chords. What chords you're going to work with, what are you going to do, how are you going to attack it. The chords that I say that you should learn first before you learn all the bar chords and the painful chords are, like G, D, C, obviously. You're going to need to learn those. Those are in 100,000 billion different songs. E and A. A is one that's kind of hard to wrap your brain around, but if you can learn how to grab it like this, it's not bad. And then the E is obviously pretty straightforward. I'll put a picture up there for you. And the one that I want to talk about that's a little bit different, that helped a lot for me learning, was B7. This may not make sense, but this B7 chord right here really helped me to be able to start learning how to grab those bar chords quick, because you have to move like all your fingers just to grab this one chord right here. And it helps me to go from where I was to there. It helped me to figure out how to play bar chords and going up the neck and playing bar chords and stuff, just because you have to move your hand so far just to get to the chord. Another good thing you're going to want to practice is technique. You need to start worrying about covering up this E string when you're playing chords. When you're playing chords that don't use that E string, because that E string's so low, it just kind of makes a dissonance that you don't really want, and it sounds kind of nasty, especially if you're plugged in. You can really hear it. What else you're going to want to kind of worry about is, like, you can't find the motivation. You need to set it down. Take you a break. I mean, there's no point in hurting yourself. But leave it laying around. Leave it laying in the living room. Hang it up on the wall. Do whatever you can to make sure that when you walk into a room that it's there and that you can see it, so that you want to come in and pick up the guitar and play it, and you want to learn other stuff. Another thing that I would say is to pick one song that you really want to learn, whether it's easy or it's hard. If it's too hard, then you can pick another song. But if there's a song that you really like, that you listen to all the time, I guarantee you that there's a song in there somewhere that's super easy and straightforward, and you can wrap your hands around and your brain around to learn it first. My one song was Sweet Home Alabama, obviously. It's just kind of, it's pretty straightforward. It's got a simple kind of cross-picking pattern, flat-picking stuff. And it's really fun. I mean, it's really fun. You can play it loud, you can play it quiet, do whatever you want with it. It's fun. Another thing people get, really kind of upset about sometimes, and I got upset about it when I was learning, was strum patterns. And people give you a really hard time about strum patterns when you're just coming into it. But now that I'm far enough along, I can tell you from experience that you can make up your own strum pattern, and it's not that hard, and that you can just roll with the punches when people are playing stuff. But if there was one strum pattern that I would use, that I can use all the time in any situation, it's down, down, up, like this. I mean, I use that one all the time. Another big deal with technique is picking pattern, which would be kind of like going from strumming to stopping, and picking the notes out, flat picking, cross picking, whatever you're doing with the acoustic or the electric. I don't leave my palm rested at all when I'm strumming. I go from strumming, and then when I go to pick, I kind of lay my palm down right behind the strings, like right here, and I'll pick from right there. When you get started, if you're strumming and you want to go into a cross-picking exercise like that, then it's good to practice going straight from there to there. Another thing that I missed earlier was kind of like the speed that you're changing chords. That's a big deal. You got to make sure that you're kind of doing like this right here and changing I learned from a guy one time that kind of helped is if you got your hand laying close to the guitar, kind of lay it on your knee or on a table and take it from there and put it straight on the chord, you know, lay it straight down, see how quickly you can get up there as long as you can see the neck and see what you're doing. But you need to learn the notes you're playing. That was probably the biggest hindrance for me once I got into playing with other people, is that I had no idea what notes I was playing. I was using, a lot of tab, and I didn't know how to read any sheet music, and I barely know how to read it now. But learn what notes you're playing, kind of start with the lowest string, start with the A and the E. Earlier it sounded like I was, crapping on tabs. I don't hate tabs. I use tabs a little bit now. I use them quite a bit when I'm trying to learn bluegrass solos, which is what I do a lot. When you're learning solos and stuff, and you just don't really want to use sheet music, because sheet music is like reading, it would be like reading Hebrew for me. It's really hard for me, especially coming from never learning and using it. Of course, now I use it a tiny bit, but all I know is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. But if you can, try and get away from tab and try and learn simple notes with your ear, Look up tracks on Spotify or on YouTube that's just the guitar playing a song like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and try and associate the simple single notes that are in there that they add in there. That's a big deal. Another thing will be finding a key. That's awfully advanced stuff for just starting, but as you come along, you'll need to know some stuff like that. And I got all out of whack when I was learning. I really had a hard time, I just learned everything backwards. I learned the hard stuff. I learned the hard techniques on the guitar and the solo stuff for bluegrass first, and I didn't know why it made sense, and that's a big deal, because when you go to learn other stuff in other keys, it's hard. And play with people that are better than you. That is the best thing you can do, is call somebody up. They play guitar, you're good buddies with them, they're way better than you. Play with them. I'd be willing to play with people now, and I'd be willing to share my licks and my tricks and whatever I do. It's a big deal for musicians to play with each other and to be able to coherently play with each other. I mean, that's a huge step going towards coming from being a beginner and just knowing G, C, and D to playing with other people and be able to make sense and it sounds good. That's a big deal. That's your big step. If you're able to get there, once you get there, high five, dude. Get a good, I say music theory. Anything is music theory. You could say just the way that a G chord sounds is music theory. It's really just an ideology of how music works. But a good music theory book, I've got one in my bag downstairs that I carry around, and I get taught from it, weekly. And it's got good sheet music and, why everything makes sense and scales and stuff like that. Oh, and while I'm there, scales. Scales are a big deal. If there was one scale that I would start with, it would be the E minor scale. And that's one that, it's easy to mess with. And it sounds pretty good. The G major scale. The G major scale is a big deal. That's a big deal to start with. It's time for the highlight of the video. I'm going to show you one song that helped me infinitely, and hopefully should help you infinitely with cross-picking and strumming chords. Alright, the song is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner, with the cross-picking and, the chords all the same. It's good to start with, learn the chords. There's that strum pattern. If you haven't heard that song yet, go give it a listen. But don't leave my video, stay here. Wait till I'm done. I'm almost done, I swear. The cross picking is what I really like here. Listen to this. I'll throw a tab up there with it, and you can go back and slow it down if you want to learn it yourself. But the basics here are, when you come in, you're going to hit the A string open. You're going to play the 2nd fret, which is a B note, and then a C, which is the 3rd fret of the A string. What you're doing here is you're just walking up, just a bass line walking up to a C chord, which is pretty cool. I like the sound of it a lot. If there were other songs that I would recommend that have cross-picking and you can play the chords with them that sound great, it would be House of the Rising Sun by the Animals and Can't You See by the Marshall Tucker Band. That's a great one. Okay, so you've learned all the basics for starting out guitar. What are you going to do next? Where are you going to go? Pick that one song that you really want to learn how to play. Make sure that you keep at it, you don't quit, you play with other people, you learn your scales, learn the chords, work on technique, work on your ear training as much as you can, even with the most simplest things ever. Use tabs only when it's crucial, only for something that would be like your next big step in difficulty. If you ever feel like you're not motivated, just take a break for a few hours or even a few days and come back to it later and make sure your guitar's laying around. I am Eli Wingler. If you think about liking and subscribing, go ahead and do so, please. It means a lot. Comment what you think and have a great time.